I just want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, that is the Amazon UK App Store. They are sponsoring my channel and giving you a chance to get 1,000 gold for free, worth about $5 in Amazon coins if you go ahead and download the Amazon store today. You can also get up to 20% savings on any in-game purchases from here on out. As you can see in the quick infographic that's being pulled up on screen, you can save quite a bit of money using this deal. So go ahead and check the link in the description to find out how to download that for yourself today. And we're going to go ahead and get right into the rest of the video. What is up, you beauties? My name is BatchatBegins, and welcome back to another fantastic video on the channel. Today we are taking a look at tiers that I don't play as often, but I have come back to recently to see how they perform in the game. Yes, that is tier 4 and tier 5. I didn't really want to put any tier 3 footage in there because I felt like it's not very interesting. It's a lot of people sitting at the back while you're the only ones really going out to do something. And the thing is, what really keeps me playing World of Tanks is the teamwork concept of the game. And you don't tend to find that in the lower tiers because you've got people just starting out who are really scared to go ahead and make an aggressive move because they don't really know how teamwork works in this game yet. So I tend to gravitate towards higher tiers and stay there. But I thought I would go ahead, take a little bit of a vacation from tier 10 and tier 9 and come all the way down to tier 4 and tier 5 and see what really goes on down here and what tanks really click in the meta right now. And the biggest takeaway that I found from my session the other day is that Germany still really dominates down here at the low tiers. The DW2 is the tank that I am playing right now, and I believe it is now a collector tank after the low tier rework that happened a couple years ago at this point. And this thing is still as dominant as ever at tier 4. It's got a ton of hit points, a very, very chunky gun that hits for a lot of alpha damage for the tier, and it is decently mobile. And there are plenty of these overlooked gems of tanks in the low-tier German tech trees, like the DW2, the Panzer III, the Panzer IIJ, Panzer IV-D, Leopard, Lux, all of the VK heavy tanks that got nerfed with the rework. The Germans just have this large amount of decent tanks that people tend to overlook because they're just getting started playing the game. I know when I first started, my first intention was I was going to go straight for the E100 because it ran through two of my favorite historical tanks, which was the Tiger 1 and the Tiger 2. And back in the day, neither of those tanks were particularly good, and the E100 was a bit meh at the end of the line. But I didn't get to appreciate just how good some of these lower tier tanks were. And when I came back to take a look at them a couple years ago, I realized just how good they were, and when you come back to take a look at them nowadays, they're still just as strong thanks to Wargaming's balancing. And the really good thing about the DW2 is it's got this great gun with good penetration and really good alpha for the tier, along with that armor, mobility, and hit points. So it's absolutely dominant in these low tiers. And when you platoon with somebody like I am, who's playing the Panzer B2 with that fire rate and that DPM, you're absolutely going to dominate like we've done in this game. Tell me in the comments below just exactly what your favorite low tier tank is. Personally, my favorite low tier tank is the Chinu, the tier 5 Japanese medium tank. It's an amazing tank, and I feel like it has some of the best on the move accuracy in the entire game. Try it out sometime and see what you think. Anyway, we have done 1,200 damage in the DW2, a decent showing here at low tiers in tier 4, and my platoon mate did about 1,000, so we did a very good job here in our low tier tanks. But what about solo? What's a really good tank for tier 5? Well, in my opinion, a tank that I have played hundreds of times, helping my brother try and grind up the tier 5 lines, the Leopard at tier 5. This thing has been nerfed and buffed several times, but right now, currently, it's still sitting here after receiving its final buff, and it has a lot of clip damage. It has about 300 clip damage and decent penetration with amazing mobility and camo. And that can make for a very deadly combo down here at tier 5 where everything doesn't have these amazing tier 10 engines yet. Anyway, we're using our mobility to go ahead and try and get in the spotting bush over here on the medium side of Falls Creek. And that's going to let us spot out anything that is going to be slower than us and coming to these positions to fight us. Fortunately, though, we do not spot anything right off the bat, but we're going to remain patient because if the friendlies do not spot anything on the heavy side, I'm going to know that they have basically gone ahead and rushed this side. So we're just going to have a little bit of patience because one of the key things to do in the Leopard is to try and save your hit points so that you can trade effectively, putting in 300 damage for about 150 in return. Anyway, we see that the Matilda finally gets spotted on the other side, so we are going to go ahead and make a move up to the bush and see if we can find anybody on this side. And as soon as we're going to go ahead and peek this bush, we are going to start getting shot by the Leopard, but we are going to angle slightly as we are approaching him in order to bounce some of those autoloader shells, and we trade in 100 more damage than he does, basically dealing 300 and taking 200 in return, which in my opinion is a good trade to go ahead and get out on a very dangerous tank of the enemy team. We're going to play patiently here, however, though. We have 2 medium tanks to come support us, so basically we can just sit here and wait for them to make the mistake, and we can go ahead and effectively trade against the enemy. We put in 170, and the Leopard has only put in 70. We're out-trading him very well right now, out-trading usually 2-to-1 or even 3-to-1 at times. And of course, I want to kill that Leopard, but if the Panzer IV is going to go ahead and fire, we're going to go ahead and take advantage and deal 321 damage in 1 magazine. Absolutely brutally devastating, considering you could potentially 2-clip tanks like this at tier 5. I absolutely love this tank, and you can do the same thing to heavies, as we're going to show a little bit later on. Obviously, we want to go ahead and clear this flank. We do not want to leave the chance for any of our teammates to go ahead and mess up potentially. And as you can see, the Leopard does have some armor, which is pretty strange for a light tank, especially at these low tiers. But if you angle slightly, that upper plate can bounce. One of the really nice things about the Leopard is it has enough armor so that it doesn't get HE'd by anything, and that is one of the best parts about the tank. So, we're going to go ahead and use the mobility to make our way across back to the heavy side to go ahead and clear up the enemy tanks, and as you can see, that mobility is coming in handy. And for this Churchill 3, I am going to need to load premium. I did not know about this at the time, but if you didn't know, Churchill's sides have some pretty tricky angles, and they're not very good for Leopard shells. So as you can see, I've got the APCR loaded. I thought, well, maybe I could chance it with AP, but it's best not to go ahead and leave something like that to chance. Go ahead and make sure your shells pin. I will always say that about these low tier games, because if you potentially mess up, you could be costing yourself the game. Alright guys, that is it for the low tier review today. If you enjoyed that, I might do some more in the future. Let me know if you'd be interested in something like that in the comments below. Make sure to check out the ad sponsorship for Amazon and support the channel. All relevant links will be in the description, and I hope you guys will go ahead and subscribe to the channel so we can hit 2K by the end of the year. This has been BatchatBegins, and I'll see you guys in the next one.